Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat?
So fourth down. Hey, guess what? 10. Empty backfield for Tommy DeVito. Saints bring 4, and he's in trouble, but he slips out of it. Zach Bond chasing him. Now he throws it. Question, is it complete? No, incomplete on the far side to Eric Gray. 2-minute warning, turnover on downs. Saints have it, 1:56 to play.
Look, it was a good team win. I thought all 3 phases contributed to the win. I thought some of our veteran players stepped up and played really well in the game, and I was proud of our guys to come out and play it the way they did today. And look, now we got to get ready on a short week to fly out to LA and play against the Rams.
Mike Hoss on the call. Dennis Allen there after the Saints beat the Giants 24-6. Yes, you are right. The last 2 weeks, the Saints have beaten 2 bad football teams. Yes, they did. The Saints beat Carolina, which is the worst team in the NFL, and they beat the Giants with Tommy Cutlets as their quarterback. Yes. Also true is that if you fancy yourself as a playoff team, you have to beat bad teams, especially at home. Now, I know they weren't at home yesterday, but Atlanta went to Carolina and lost while they were in the midst of a playoff push. Not no more. So, yes, the Saints beat a bad Carolina team and a bad Giants team. But if you want to go to the playoffs, you have to win those games. Tip your cap. They stepped up and won 2 games they were supposed to win. Now, you got a short week. You got to go to LA to play the Rams, who are one of the hottest teams in the NFC right now. And we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But they've put themselves in position with 3 games to play to make the playoffs. A couple of observations from the game against the Giants. I want to start with the defense. And I know everybody is going to want to talk about Derek Carr. We'll get there. I want to start with the defense because I don't want any other commentary to overshadow how awesome that defense was yesterday. Dennis Allen even said after the game that it was, can you play number 5, please? This was Dennis Allen after the game on the pass rush, a day where the Saints had 7 sacks, 4 in the first half, 7 sacks, 9 TFLs. Here was Dennis Allen after the game on the pass rush.
You know, I thought our guys did a good job of understanding, rush lane integrity and how we had to rush this quarterback. And then when we did get him off the spot, guys were able to finish and get him on the ground. And I think that's really been probably the biggest difference, really, when you look at the last 2 weeks, is I think, we've been able to finish much better on the quarterback when we've been able to get him off the spot. And so, but certainly this was probably our best day in terms of, being able to get after the quarterback and being able to finish on the quarterback.
Huge hat tip to Demario Davis as well. The Saints had to bring defensive energy, and it literally started with Demario Davis. He led the Who Dat chant before the game. He got everybody riled up. And defensively, the Saints started pretty sharp. It looked like they were going to force a 3 and out, and then JT Gray roughs the punter, and they get the first down. They would settle for a 56-yard Randy Bullock field goal. But after that, the Giants never threatened again in the first half until the end of the first half when they kicked another field goal, and they did that on the back of one of the most heinous, unnecessary roughness penalties that they called on Alontae Taylor that any of us have ever seen. Otherwise, on 3rd and 22, you're off the field again in a little more than 2 minutes. But after that field goal to start the game, the Giants' possessions were a 3-and-out punt, 3-and-out punt, 9 plays punt, and then the field goal at the end of the half, which really was, again, the drive extended because of that absurd, unnecessary roughness call against Alontae Taylor. The defense was great, and it started with Demario Davis. 10 tackles, a sack, 2 TFLs. He was awesome. I mentioned the opening drive field goal, which was aided by roughing the punter. You didn't allow anything else until the field goal before the half, which was aided by another awful penalty. So the defense deserves a tremendous amount of credit, and they pitched a shutout in the second half. And now back-to-back weeks, the Saints defense has not allowed a touchdown. I don't care who you're playing. In the NFL, where everyone is getting paid, to go consecutive weeks without allowing a touchdown is incredible. So hat tip to Dennis Allen and that defense for picking themselves up and having a great day on Sunday in the Dome against the Giants. Yes, I get it. That's not a great Giants team, but it's still a professional football team, and you kept them out of the end zone. Let's talk about Derek Carr. Hat tip to Derek Carr. If you're going to criticize when it's warranted, and you should criticize when it's warranted, then you have to give compliments when warranted as well, without stipulation. Derek Carr was very good on Sunday. He was 23 of 28 for 218 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Saints finished in the red zone on Sunday, which is something that we have criticized them for, rightfully so. But they were 2 for 2 in their red zone opportunities on Sunday, coming away with touchdowns. When they show improvement and things that you want to see happen, you have to acknowledge it, and that happened on Sunday, which was great to see. After the game, Dennis Allen feeling himself a little chippy with the media talking about his quarterback.
I thought the quarterback played really well, so we'll make sure we get that on record. Probably statistically, 218 yards probably is not, nobody's, jumping off the table with 218 yards, but 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. I thought the protection, again, was outstanding in the game. Gave him some opportunities to get the ball down the field. A 134 quarterback rating. I thought he played well, and I thought the players around him played well.
Nobody's jumping off the table. Did he go Russ Mitchell there? Did he just screw up a saying there? It kind of felt like that's what happened there.
That is 100% what happened. I'm not really sure
what he was trying to say.
What saying he was going for, but it wasn't that. I've never heard anybody jump off the table out of excitement, except maybe Bills fans.
Jump for joy. That's true. Bills Mafia, dog.
Yeah.
Anyway, Derek Carr was really good. But be careful, Dennis Allen. This is still a quarterback that's 16th in the NFL in passing yards, 18th in the NFL in passing touchdowns, and 14th in the NFL in quarterback rating. Derek Carr is very much a middle-of-the-road quarterback in the NFL. It's what he's always been. But he played very well on Sunday. And if you can get that efficiency out of Derek Carr Thursday night in Los Angeles against the Rams, you'll have a chance to win. Can you replicate those performances? I don't know. We haven't seen it yet this year, but I hope so. Because if you do, you'll have a chance to go win that game and put yourself in a great spot to put yourself into a de facto division championship game in Tampa a week from Sunday. Blake Grupe, who has been maligned, taken a lot of criticism, justified. You're an NFL kicker with a sub 80% field goal make rate. Nailed his 50-yarder. Great to see. Let's see more of it. I thought the offensive effort was great. We talked about how efficient Derek Carr was. Alvin Kamara ran hard. 16 carries for 66 yards isn't going to pop off the stat sheet, but he even had about a 10-yard carry that was negated by a holding on Andrews Pete. I thought Kamara played very hard. That guy wants it. It's evident. He's leading by example, and that was great to see. This was a day where you had no Chris Olave. Taysom Hill was limited. He had just 1 rushing attempt on the day. You were playing without Ryan Ramczyk, so you were starting Landon Young at right tackle. And in spite of that, this offensive line, which has been very bad this year, going against the defense with Kayvon Thibodeau, who they were monsters against Green Bay on Monday Night Football, you allowed 1 sack and 2 tackles for loss. A complete performance for this Saints team. The only gripe were the penalties. And you were able to overcome them. 6 for 58 yards, and two of the penalties allowed their 2 scoring drives to extend when you were off the field. That's really it. That's the only thing really to gripe about. The New Orleans Saints, with that win, put themselves in position to control their playoff destiny. It is this simple. You have 3 games left. If you win the 3 games you have remaining, you win the division, you are hosting a wild card round playoff game. It is that simple. They beat 2 teams at home they were supposed to beat. Now you have to go on the road in back-to-back weeks. Short week, Thursday at the Rams. Then a week from Sunday, you're at Tampa Bay. If you win those 2 games, you go into Week 18 at home against the Falcons. Depending on what those teams do, Atlanta losing to Carolina Sunday was massive. But depending on what happens with Tampa, who won in Green Bay yesterday, you're looking at a scenario where you control your own destiny, and you will be playing yourself into the playoffs if you're able to win these next 3 games. Now, I want to be very clear about something else because I've heard a lot of this since the win on Sunday. A lot of fans, Saints fans, have tweeted me or hit whatever and have said, like, do we really want the Saints to win? Because if they win, they're lessening their draft stock. They're more likely to keep Dennis Allen and run it back. And I get that. I totally understand. But for me, and I can only speak for myself, for me, I always want my team to win. The only time I will ever pull against my team is the scenario like we saw in 2020 with the Jets, where the Jets were trying to draft number 1 overall, and they win the last week of the season. Was it the Browns that they beat? I forget who it was that they beat, but they win the game at the end of the season, and the Jacksonville Jaguars end up getting the number 1 overall pick. They draft Trevor Lawrence, and the Jets take Zach Wilson. Those are franchise-altering draft picks, right? Because you won a game which meant nothing in the standings the last week of the season. So that's the only time I would ever cheer against my team. The New Orleans Saints have been around since 1967. They've made the playoffs 14 times. 9 of those were under Peyton and Breeze. You have an opportunity to win your division, to make the playoffs, to host a playoff game. Do I want to see that? You're damn right I do. Absolutely I do. I like the irony of people saying the worst thing that could happen is the Saints win. The irony is that it's literally the best thing that could happen. Is like you go win out. Like, I'd love to see my team go on a 5-game winning streak and go into the playoffs at 10-7 division champs, hosting a game likely against Dallas in the Dome in the wild card round. I'd love to see that. Yes, give me that. Give me that scenario. Now, that's what I would love to see happen. But there's a big difference between what I want to see happen and what I think will happen. And that's what a lot of people sometimes don't understand about this job. I love the New Orleans Saints. I want them to win every game they ever play. It is part of the fabric of my being. I grew up a Saints fan. Sundays were church, Shoney's breakfast buffet, Dome. That was Sunday. Like, I mean, I grew up, like, one of my most prized possessions as a kid was when I got a Dalton Hilliard jersey for Christmas. Like, I don't remember Dalton Hilliard at LSU. I remember Dalton Hilliard with the Saints. That's how I'm 41. That's my guy. Those late 80s, early 90s teams with Bobby Hebert and Dalton Hilliard and Eric Martin. I mean, those were my guys, right? The first Dome Patrol. Saints, first time Saints were ever good. But I want them to win always, and will always cheer for them. But my job is to give you honest opinions. And I'm not a mouthpiece for the organization, never will be. And I'm never going to lie to you. I'm never going to fabricate an opinion. I'm going to tell you what I think. A lot of y'all got really pissed at me for crapping on the Derek Carr signing the entire offseason. How's that working out for you? I was right. Period. I was right. He's an average NFL quarterback. But just because I'm going to give you an honest opinion, like what I think will happen is the Saints are going to go lose to the Rams and then lose at Tampa. That's what I think is going to happen. Short week, traveling to the West Coast, 2 time zones over against a team that's playing as well as anybody right now in the NFC. I think the Saints are going to go lose Thursday to the Rams. I think they're going to go to Tampa and lose there because the Bucs just really surprised me with how well they played in winning at Green Bay. That's what I think is going to happen. But there's a big difference. What do I want to happen? What do I think is going to happen? What do I want to happen? The fan of me wants the Saints to win out, make the playoffs, host a wild card game in the Dome against the Cowboys and win it. That's what I want to happen. And what I think will happen is a different reality. But they're going to tee it up and kick it off on Thursday out at SoFi, and I'm going to be cheering like hell for Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints to go win that game because they'd be one step closer to the playoffs if they do. And they're in that spot because the last 2 weeks they took care of business, which you have to do if you want to make a playoff push. And that's where the Saints have found themselves. They've earned it. This opportunity that awaits them on Thursday out in LA. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.